into the Your Illini Nation pregame show. Andy Olson and Derek Piper from Illini Inquirer with you as we get set for Illinois hosting UMKC, Game 2 of the season here at the State Farm Center. Derek, I can't believe we're already a week into the season. We're about 60 minutes, actually less than that, from tip-off now. There will be some pregame ceremonies for last season's Big Ten championship winning team. We'll get to that in just a moment. We'll also stream that live, so be sure to stay on our digital channels, Facebook, Twitter, the website, YouTube, wherever you happen to be watching this. We'll have that later, but more on that later. Let's get to the now. UMKC, Illinois, Derek, and can you believe it's Game 2 already? We're already into the midst of the season.
A week into the season, a week away from playing in Vegas against number 8 UCLA. So one of the few more opportunities you have to clear some things up, get some guys some more confidence. You want to see Matthew Meyer bounce back after kind of a shaky debut against Eastern Illinois. Talk about the freshman guards. I think they got a good challenge tonight to get some veterans on the UMKC side. You're going to see some 2-3 zone, a little bit different defensive challenges for what UMKC is going to roll out there. This is not a great team. They lost their opener to Lincoln University, a D2 program. They did compete a lot better against LSU on Wednesday, but for Illinois just to continue to get more opportunities as a unit, to get that cohesion offensively, work some things defensively as well, and just build up and ramp up for some tough tests coming in Vegas a week from now.
Let's break down that game number 1. 30-point winners for Illinois, and I think the biggest thing for me coming into that game was how well they would gel together, how good the rhythm is between these guys, because Illinois only has 4 returners, one of them out for the foreseeable future in Luke Goody. Derek, how did you think they gelled in that season opener?
I think there were some ups and downs. I think for the most part they did pretty well defensively. They switched a lot of things. They were showing some nice recover action when Sky would get switched onto a big. I think Meyer right off the bat did a good job of saying, no, I'll take him. You go out to the wing and bouncing that thing out. So I think for the most part they did pretty well with that. Now there were some moments where they got caught in some bad switches or they just ultimately got beat. And then offensively, we saw that Coleman Hawkins had a fabulous game, 5 threes in the first half. I loved his confidence. I loved the willingness to take shots early in the shot clock and be a weapon in transition. Terrence Shannon getting downhill. I wanted to see Illinois get to the free throw line, and he did it at a high rate, career high 15 free throw attempts, and that's something that he's very, very capable of. So I think also just the way the athleticism flashed defensively. When you had 10 blocks, I think that shows the length, the athleticism, ability, without a true 7-foot shot blocking center, that you have positional size to be able to defend the rim as well. So it wasn't perfect. You had some guys that struggled. Sky Clark 5 turnovers. Matthew Meyer didn't show out that well. RJ Melendez 0 for 5 from 3. So some things to clean up and work on, but for the most part a pretty decent opener, and take a 30-point win whenever you can get it.
You mentioned Coleman Hawkins. Are you going to take any credit for that? Because on the Your Illini Nation tip-off show that we did a few weeks ago, he was one of your picks to click as some guy who could take a big step forward this year.
If you want to give me some credit, I'll take it. But I think that still obviously a long season. And Brad has said, though, a lot of confidence in Coleman, and that he mentioned this week, going to wake up every morning and know that Coleman's one of the best players in the Big Ten. We know that he's on some NBA mock drafts right now, sitting in that second round range, and hey, if he shoots the 3 like that, granted he's not going to go 5 from 8 from 3 every night, but if he really shows the strides of the 3-point jumper, that's a guy that could potentially work his way into the first round. Again, let's wait and see what he does against some higher level talent, but we know what he was doing defensively last year. We know his skill set offensively. It's just been about putting it all together, being more consistent. And that was someone that showed a ton of confidence, and he's really just the key to what they do at both ends of the floor in terms of stylistically. Allows him to play 5 out with his jump shot, his skill, and then defensively, full court press, switching. Coleman brings a lot of value to this team.
Let's talk about the freshmen, too. It didn't seem like for any of the 4 of them, that scholarship freshmen that played, the moment wasn't too big for them. This was their first time really playing a regular season game in the State Farm Center. You mentioned Sky Clark, the 5 turnovers. There were some downs as they kind of figure out what playing at the Division I level is like. It's a lot different than playing in high school. Which one to you was the most impressive in their orange and blue debut?
Sincere impressed me the most. I know that Ty, when you look at his rebounding, his assists, he had a really nice night. Does need to clean up at the free throw line. And I know that coming in yesterday before interviews, he was out here really early while Dane was doing the talking to the media. Ty was at the other end of the floor shooting a lot of free throws. But Sincere's energy, his fearlessness, the fact that he didn't seemed like a guy that was thinking too much or too tentative. He was willing to shoot from the outside, hitting a corner three. I think when you couple that all together, now I think that a lot of people are going to get excited about some of the athletic plays he made at the rim. Now, he missed some of those dunks that he tried to make. So while it was fun plays, you want to see him finish a little bit better. But I just think that for someone that has been given a chance to prove he belongs in the rotation with Luke being hurt, and the way that Illinois wants to be more aggressive defensively, he's someone that can have a lot of value. I still expect a lot out of Sky and out of Jaden Epps. Just going to take some time for those guys to balance. When do I pick my spots to try to score? When do I take the back seat of being a spot-up option, let Terrence go do his thing, let Coleman do his thing? And I don't think that Sky's going to have turnover issues throughout the entire season, but it was just some moments where he was loose with the ball and threw the ball into traffic, and you expect that out of freshman guards.
Yeah, I would agree with you. My pick was Sincere as well, who was the most impressive. Ty Rodgers, like you said, having a great game, maybe not at the free throw line or at the rim, but on defense, it was just a big physical presence out there, which I think he's given fans more than maybe they expected from him when he committed as a high school senior. So excited to see where those guys go this season. Let's move ahead to tonight now and UMKC. You mentioned not a great start to the year, losing to a Division II opponent. LSU, who has got a lot of new faces on their roster. Adam Miller, former Illini, does come back for them after not being on the court at all last season. But they are an SEC team. They're going to be a tough out to only lose by about 10 to them. Pretty good showing. What do you expect maybe from the Roos tonight? Because in all honesty, this one shouldn't be only going one way.
Right, absolutely. I think that if Illinois is able to execute against that zone, now it's something they haven't seen really much at all. I'm sure they're practicing, and I know that when you do a close scrimmage like against Kansas, you're going to throw out different situations, and working against the zone is one of those things. But I felt that UMKC, with their athleticism and size, now they don't have a 7-footer. I know that Brad kind of said, this is one of the taller teams I've seen in a while. Granted, they don't have Zach Edey, they don't have Hunter Dickinson. I know that Brad can be one that hypes up the opponent they're about to play a little bit, but they do when you look at, they go 6'4", 6'5", 6'7", 6'9", 6'9", across the board in their starting lineup. It's a pretty big lineup. They do have some good athletes, and the way they're going to try to crash inside and take away driving lanes with the 2-3 zone, Illinois is going to have to shoot the three and make those open jump shots. Last year, when you kicked it to Trent Frazier, Alfonso Plummer, Jacob Grandison, and they were open, most of the time you knew those were going in. This year, you have many capable shooters, but do you have enough knockdown shooters? Are you going to shoot it at a high enough clip to really make teams pay if you do that? And I think offensively for UMKC, they're shooting 18% from three. Let them take as many of those as they want. They will play downhill, though. Those guards, those veteran guards, they got a transfer from UIC that's done some good things for them, and another one that's a JUCO transfer that's been with them for a few years. They'll get downhill. They'll try to get to the rim. And this is a UMKC team that wants to be physical. I think, as Brad mentioned yesterday, LSU fouled them way too much. That was a big part of them staying in that game. Can Illinois defend without fouling? And then also, but match their physicality on the glass, because UMKC, while they miss a lot of shots, they go to the glass pretty well.
What does Illinois have to gain in this matchup? Now, it's a 25.5-point spread right now, so it's not likely that this game will be close, but this early in the season, they can still get something out of this. What is that?
I think for Epps and for Clark to see guys that have been in college basketball for a long time, you fast forward a week from now, you're going to see Tiger Campbell, who's been in basketball for a long time, obviously at a different level, being at UCLA and someone that's been to a Final Four. But I think just playing against older guards, which they've done. They did that against Kansas. DeJuan Harris, really good point guard. But just to be able to handle that challenge in a game, see how those guys respond to some guards that are just going to go right at them. And I think also just offensively seeing a different look, seeing a zone, seeing some athleticism that will be different than what they did against Eastern Illinois, where Eastern didn't have a Terrence Shannon or a Matthew Meyer or RJ Melendez in terms of size in the wing. These guys aren't those type of dudes as players, but they got some athleticism and some length that matches up with them. So being able to take that test, see how much they are cohesively offensively, how they work against that. I mean, there were stretches last year where Illinois faced a zone and they kind of got stagnant, didn't handle it all that well. It's a different feel when you face that. So how they handle that, how they can execute. Those are some things they can take away.
Is there a matchup in particular that you're maybe keeping an eye on tonight, as this team's still very early on in the season, trying to figure out how to play with one another, trying to figure out their game on each side of the ball?
I think that one thing I'm definitely looking for tonight is Matthew Meyer to play well. I think that no matter who he's going against, you want to see him elevate his game, look like one of the best college basketball transfers in the nation, which I know it's still very, very early, and Brad's talked about trying to get him in really good shape. But again, when you're about to face UCLA, you hope to beat them and probably face Baylor, his former team. You're going to need him to be that third guy. You thought that he'd come in and be a star. Oh, my God, there's a B on the camera.
There is a B on the camera.
I don't know what that means, but
you stay right there, B.
Hopefully that means the Roos are going to get stung by some Matthew Meyer threes tonight. But, yeah, this is a guy that has a ton of ability. He's proven in college basketball, but just getting him in sync and a rhythm. And again, you're going to see some guys on UMKC's side that have some size, some athleticism that can match up with him. So how he handles that, and again, going back to it with the guards, the fact that you look at UMKC's guards combined for 34 points against LSU, they did a good job getting to the free throw line, getting to the basket and finishing. I think them against Jaden Epps and Sky Clark's a big matchup too.
I've never had a B, any bug, land on the camera live while we're doing something. How did the B get in here? I don't know. A lot of questions with that going on. But not just the game going on tonight, there's a celebration from last season as the Big Ten champions will come back. The guys that have left, Trent Frazier, DeMonte Williams, Alfonso Plummer, Kofi Coburn, all in the building tonight as they get their rings, as their banner will be lifted to the ceiling. Not a bad team that was. Kind of fun to get everyone back.
Oh, absolutely. And I think when you look at the first 5 years of Brad's tenure, and within that window of that, building the program back up, to come away with 2 banners, one for a Big Ten tournament title, one for a Big Ten regular season title, and you got Io's jersey up there, and soon enough you're going to have Kofi's as well. So to have that era of Brad Underwood's tenure come away with that much, now I get it. A lot of people still want tournament success, and they should. For as talented as those teams were, they disappointed in the tournament. But those are moments you go through the years and just something to look back on. It's been a long time since a team has been able to make that mark here. I mean, really, you think back to 2005. Last time they put players up there, last time they put a Big Ten championship up there. And that, by the way, speaking of homecomings, the coach of that team, Bruce Weber, here in the building too. So a cool night for some former Illini to be back here.
I was going to bring that up as well. Do you think we're going to hear any Bruce chants? Has maybe the sourness dulled a little bit with time?
I think it should.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't blame fans for being disappointed where you had so much success rolling there in the early to mid 2000s and a ton of momentum and not being able to fully capitalize on that. Yeah, Bruce is to blame for some of that too. Sure. But at the same time, I think that we talked about this with Bill Self when, Bill had the close scrimmage against Brad, and would people forgive Bill Self to have him come back here? Would he get booed out of the building? Maybe he would, but I think that one thing I keep coming back to, when Illinois fans feel like they have their guy, and they feel like they have their guy at head coach, and they feel like the program is at a high level once again, I think they can be more forgiving of some things that happened in the past. I think Bruce should be able to get some of those cheers, and I'd love to hear a Bruce chant tonight. I think he deserves it.
Yeah, and I'll be interested to see on the PA if they're going to do anything with him, like on the video board as well. He'll be sitting courtside, so it's not like he'll be avoiding any of the Illini fans. He'll be right next to him.
He was the head coach of one of the most exciting, successful teams in this school's history. So there's something to be said for that, for sure.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens tonight with the fans. There will definitely be cheers for that ceremony before the game. We're being told it's around 7:35-ish. Like I said, that'll be streamed live wherever you're watching this, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, our website, our app. Come back here around that time, and we will be streaming that pregame ceremony. You can see some of the old guys coming back from last year. Should be a fun time. So as we close out, Derek, here with this game tonight, we already talked about where your eyes are going to be in this one. Who on the Illini side is the key player for you in this game? Besides maybe just Matthew Meyer needed to pop out, who needs to play well for Illinois to pretty handily put this one away?
Yeah, I think that Meyer's the one I continue to come back to in terms of seeing him be able to take those strides. But I think if you have Terrence Shannon Jr. who most nights he's going to be the best player on the floor, especially in these type of environments. And even you go out to Vegas, we're going to face some really, really good players. If he continues to play at the level that he started things out with and the way that he's played throughout the offseason and how they've talked about him, Illinois is going to be just fine. So if he's going to go to the rim like he's capable of against a team that has decent athleticism, if he's going to shoot the three, which last year 38% was a career high, if he gets some open looks tonight from deep within that zone, teams are going to struggle against Illinois. So I think that you look at him once again. I know I've talked a lot about the freshman point guards, talked a lot about Meyer, but I think also one guy that I haven't mentioned a whole lot, RJ Melendez, a guy that missed his three-point attempts earlier in the week against EIU. Against his own, going to get some open looks from three. Want to see him get confident. Brett said he's pressing a little bit. I understand he's trying to step into a bigger role. I think he's one. If he makes his shots tonight, Illinois should be able to pull away against that zone.
I do want to, before we wrap up, I do want to mention Terrence Shannon Jr. just a bit. When was the last time Illinois had a wing as athletic as him?
Brandon Paul or Ryan Randall?
It's been a while.
It's been a long time. It's been a long time.
And I think you saw that on that dunk at the start of the first half. Kind of like almost an arrival, like I'm here, Illini Nation kind of moment for him.
I mean, different level of athlete.
Yeah.
Explosiveness, being able to cock it all the way back and throw it down with authority. He's a fun player, man. And then he had a block or two that was really exciting. We know that, again, was able to get to the free throw line, and he can make jump shots too. He had a nice pull-up three, got in the lane, mid-range pop. He's feeling really, really good. He's as healthy as he's been in a while, and this is an opportunity to continue to show off for his home state. I know he's looking forward to continuing to do so.
Yeah, and, you know, if he can keep that percentage at the free throw line, that'd be pretty good.
Well,
Not bad.
He's a career 80% free throw shooter. So when he gets there, he converts. And I know that with him being healthy now and the way that Illinois is going to utilize him, he should get double-digit free throw attempts on most nights. He did that night one. I would expect him to continue that as well.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's wrap up now, Derek. Let's get your final thoughts. Illini in the Roos getting set to tip off at 8 p.m. So about 40 minutes or so. Your final thoughts, and let's get a score prediction as well.
I think that Illinois at times will, look, early in the season, new team, still figuring it out. Going to be some ups and downs. Going to see some turnovers. Going to see some breakdowns defensively. With this being a more athletic UMKC squad, I think they'll score better than Eastern did, although their shooting woes could play against them, obviously. So I think that Illinois will be able to hopefully hit threes outside of Coleman at a higher rate. I think that UMKC's turnover issues will play into some easy baskets. And ultimately, Illinois 82, UMKC 60. I got really Illinois not covering the spread again. I'm sorry, but yeah.
I've got it a little bit closer than that. I've got it 85-60. Yeah. So we're right on the money once again. As far as
we were close last time.
I know we were about 3 points away as far as what our predictions were last time.
Did you hear the Orange Crush? A couple of members of the Orange Crush chanting at Brad, or not chanting, yelling at Brad, please score one more. We got on Bovada or whatever gambling site that you can do. We got Illinois minus 30.5, minus 31. That was a bad beat for them.
If you had the points, a little bit of a bad beat there.
Yeah, if you were laying them,
Yeah. So my prediction also a little bit of a bad beat right on 25. If you got the hook, I'm sorry. I hope I'm wrong for you, but we'll see what will happen here tonight. Derek, any final reading materials on Illini Inquirer people can check out before the game gets started?
Yeah, we've got a lot of signing day coverage earlier this week. Brad inked what's currently yet another top 25 class for him, so I had a full notebook on that, signing day spotlights, and then full preview, breaking it down tonight. And Joey also wrote a feature on Dane Danger, who had a nice double-double.
Not bad.
Yeah, we didn't mention him a whole lot, but if he keeps it going, we'll talk about him going forward. Nice piece off the bench for Illinois so far.
All right, well, you can check that out. Like I said, Derek Piper, IlliniInquirer.com. On WCIA after the game, you can see highlights, my live report here from the State Farm Center, as well as on our website and the WCN 3-in-1 podcast feed. Brett and I will break down the game there as well. We got tons of coverage, Illini Inquirer and at WCIA.com. So be sure to tune back in after the game. We very appreciative spending some time before the game with us as we get ready for this one. Illinois UMKC coming up at 8 p.m. again. Come back after the game, and in just a few minutes we've got that pregame ceremony coming up wherever you're watching this. So be sure to tune back in. For Derek, I'm Andy. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you after the game. Enjoy it.